This proof illustrates a couple of the trickier maneuvers that I oftentimes put in derived rule proofs. Let's start and look at line 1. Do you recognize that you can actually work on line 1 with what we've got? Stop and think about it. Line 1 has a wedge as its main connective, and so we know that we'd love to be able to do disjunctive argument. To do disjunctive argument, what would you need to have on another line? Sometimes it can be helpful to write it off to the side. You would either need to have tilde z, which would be the easier one, and we don't have that, or you'd have to have tilde tilde m wedge n. Do we have tilde tilde m wedge n? We don't, but notice you can build it because we have an m. In fact, you can do wedge in and build m wedge n, and that's just 2 wedge in. But then once you've got that, you can add 2 tildes to it by double negation. And so we've been inspired to build tilde tilde m wedge n by looking at line 1. Of course, its justification is for double negation, but the reason that we did this is because this says either P or Q is true. Now we've shown that it's not the P part, therefore it has to be the Q part. And the justification would be 1-5 disjunctive argument. So I think watching for things like this, recognizing that you can build the negation of half of a disjunctive argument, is certainly one of the trickier things that you can be asked to do right now. Okay, we worked with 1 and 5. Let's check those off. And we work our way down. We also worked with 2. And we look at line 3. Well, line 3 says is an arrow, so we know we want to think about arrow out and modus tollens. What would we need to do arrow out on line 3? Tilde r, and we don't have that. But what would we need for modus tollens? You'd need the negation of the Q part, and again, it's probably useful to write that off to the side. It would be tilde tilde m and z. Do we have that? We don't have it, but we have the ability to build it because we have an m and a z. So we put the m and the z together, 2, 6, ampersand in, and then we do the double negation to make everything totally legitimate. And that's 7 double negation. Now we say, if P then Q, but not the Q part, therefore not the P part. We're using the modus tollens rule over here. And so what are we going to get to write on line 9? Well, it will be tilde tilde r. And that would be 3, 8 modus tollens. And at this point, we're virtually done. Because take a look at our conclusion. It's r wedge tilde c and k and tilde 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 z. Well, it's a little crazy, but see, we have tilde tilde r. So let's do another double negation, this time getting rid of some tildes. 9 dn. Now we have half of r wedge tilde c and k, so let's use our favorite rule, wedge in, and just pull that tilde c and k out of thin air. 10 wedge in. And now that we've done that, we have half of this, and all we need now is 4 tilde z. Well, we have regular z, and so to do this correctly, we have to do it in 2 steps. We say tilde tilde z by 6 double negation, and now that we've got tilde tilde z, we can create 4 tilde z. 1, 2, 3, 4 z, 12 dn, and now we're done. 15 will be 11 plus 14 ampersand in. Yeah. In some ways, I don't think this is hard, but recognizing that you can set up the disjunctive argument by building the opposite of tilde m wedge n or recognizing that you can set up the modus tollens by building the opposite of tilde m and z. I think these are things you've got to recognize that you can build, and you've got to be on the lookout for them.